with purpose. It's not always about investing in property. It's about creating cash flow. It's about starting businesses. It's about feeding families. It's about living your why, living your purpose.
Standing here today feels like a full circle moment, a moment that honors not just an award I received, but a journey that reshaped my life, my leadership, and my vision of impact.
I don't think that there is a single one event which captures the imagination of an investor like an event like this.
I want to see people gain confidence and actually be able to invest in properties and really gain a meaningful impact in their lives and be able, with confidence, to come out and invest and get more involved in the economy and create opportunities for themselves.
We're so honored. It's such a privilege for us to continue our partnership that we have with SAPN. We are so proud to be able to see some of the achievements that we have had tonight.
Today was so impactful for me as we launched because we saw different levels of winners from the previous Investor of the Year, from beginners, from newcomers, from youth up to big leagues. For me, it's an inspiration to those that were fearful in entering Investor of the Year.
I want to encourage everybody to enter for the 2026 Investor of the Year and just see how your story can be told to the rest of South Africa.
It is phenomenal. The stories that we hear today, and it's so inspiring that this platform helps entrepreneurs to leapfrog into new opportunities.
I encourage you to really come in and invest and really enter into Investor of the Year because it can really change your life. Just go ahead, take the plunge and get in and register.
The stories of the winners has been awesome. It's inspiring, and that's exactly what SAPN is about. We are very proud to be associated with SAPN as a company, and we look forward to many, many more collaborations moving forward.
Since my journey with SAPN, I've been on a growth path. I have met a lot of people who are also willing to invest in my deals. I have had doors open for me, more opportunities, and I just love being a part of the SAPN community.
It was fantastic to listen to the amazing stories that these category winners and contestants shared with all of us. So this is a fantastic journey.
We are so looking forward to 2026 Investor of the Year. We want to see who's going to take away all the prizes and who's going to be the main champion. So please get your entries ready and submit.
Guys, what an evening here at Villa Bianca, the launch of 2026 Investor of the Year. We have partners, sponsors, previous entrants, even future entrants entering. This is such a great initiative for all South Africans in the property space. So I urge you, take that next step into Investor of the Year, build your profile, because remember, credibility meets opportunity. It's not always who you know, it's who knows you.
Where credibility meets opportunity. A lovely and very cold good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome to Investor of the Year, more Investor of the Year judging. We're going to be together for the next hour or so. I do see a couple of people have joined us on the session. Please let me know where you are watching from. Colette Sweg is one of our judges in the comment section. Happy belated birthday, Colette. Hope you did enjoy. But let me know where you are watching me from. Are you down in Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban? Let me know down below. Ladies and gents, a little bit about myself. My name is Daniel Kazadi. For the purposes of this afternoon, ladies and gents, I'm going to be one of the judges that will be welcoming two awesome contestants, namely Shanice as well as Jerome, and also judging them on their opportunities and on how they could have structured things a bit different. I'm also a property developer in my own rights, and my 9-to-5 focuses on property development as well. So we've got Peter joining us from Roodepoort, nice cold Roodepoort. Ladies and gents, for those of you that do not know about the Investor of the Year competition, this is the 5th edition that we are running this competition, where we started in the year 2018. We had none other than Mr. Robin Booth win it, and in our inaugural competition with a phenomenal Airbnb deal that he did down in Cape Town. And then we did another one the year later where Dana Bonsai won it with a student accommodation down in Bloem. 2021, we had none other than Mr. Darren Francis, one of the most inspirational figures in the property sector, talk about his journey and the lovely story he gave on how he's giving back to his community, down in Cape Town, in the Cape Flats, and the beautiful journey he took us through on what is possible as a property investor. 2024, historic on multiple fronts. We had our first female winner. We are in Women's Month. Happy Women's Month, Women's Day that just passed. To all the ladies that are watching us, we had Patricia Chitema, and as we are wrapping up towards the 19th of September, we are going to, it's your opportunity, ladies and gents, to be one of the said winners of the competition. For this year, ladies and gents, there's going to be 3 main categories, namely the beginner category, the intermediate, as well as the big leagues. And then we have multiple subcategories under which you will all form a part of. And then there's 4 new subcategories on your screens, which is the Reno Under Pressure, which we will be seeing one of the contestants that will be presenting, Jerome, of how he did a renovation under pressure. There's the Tenant Rehab Award, there's the Best Short-Term Deal Award, and then there's the overall SEPN Member of the Year award. So, ladies and gents, if you would like to find out, I know entries are closed. Unfortunately, you can no longer enter for the competition, but please, I do urge you to scan the QR codes on your screen to find out more about the Investor of the Year competition. A special thank you to our headline sponsor and partner, Absa Bank, that have decided and believe in what we are trying to do, which is go around the country, listen to all the stories of investors, ordinary South Africans changing their lives using property as a vehicle. A special thank you to Absa Bank. I'd like to share, ladies and gents, that the overall winner of this year's competition will win a cash prize of 100,000 Rand in cash, the largest in Investor of the Year history. A special thank you to all of our other partners and sponsors from BSA Law. I know Colette is watching from the Sunninghill offices, Tal Africa, SAPN Prepaid, Absa Bank, Mustandi, Tough Capital, Lightstone, Auction Inc., Business Partners, Zweshu, who are going to be the official partners and tailor making all the suits of the judges, SA Hosts, as well as Framework Integrated Solutions. I thank you, a special thank you to all of you. Thank you for believing in what we are trying to achieve. Ladies and gents, the overall winner will also be getting a weekend away at Bakubang Beach Lodge, valued at 10,000 Rand. But like we've been saying from the very first round of judging, ladies and gents, as you as contestants can also form part of the Investor of the Year competition by attending the gala dinner. So we are going to be selling tickets to the gala dinner. However, tickets are running out very, very quickly. If you would like to be with us on the 19th of September at the Maslow Hotel in Sandton, ladies and gents, scan the QR codes on your screen below or visit our website at www.investoroftheyear.co.za to book a ticket for the actual evening. So that's enough housekeeping over and done with. So what I'd like to do, as I stated, ladies and gents, we are going to be judging 2 other contestants, namely Shanice and Jerome. But before I bring them out, I'd like to introduce my partner in crime for today, who's going to be my fellow judge, who's Samukelo Ndlovu from at 360 Finance. I'm going to ask Sam to just unmute himself and just do an intro on how at 360 Finance assists investors on their journeys as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Daniel, and happy to be here again this week. I'm looking forward to seeing the Reno Under Pressure that Jerome had put together. But besides that, I'll just take a couple of minutes to introduce myself. My name is Samukelo Ndlovu, and I will be one of your judges for this event today. And on top of that, on a day-to-day basis, I do head up SAPN Finance, which is powered by at 360 Finance. And our mandate is essentially just assisting investors within our network get finance for their property deals. So we understand how creative investors can be when structures come into play, trying to unlock finance in creative manners, and that's where we come in and we assist you in securing that finance. So whether you are at that stage where you're looking to get finance, please feel free to reach out to me. If you're looking to get pre-qualified, please feel free to reach out to me. But for the next hour or so, I'm purely wearing the hat of being a judge for the Investor of the Year Awards. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing what our contestants have to bring for us today. Thanks, Daniel.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. So, ladies and gents, you also, as the attendees, right, whether you're watching us on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, number one, please drop us a like, and you get a chance to ask any questions to our contestants as well, and I'll bring it up on the screens. So we're going to start, ladies and gents, with the first contestant is going to be Shanice. I'm going to bring her on board. Shanice, how are you doing?
Am I allowed to say super nervous?
You are allowed. You are allowed.
But
Awesome.
super nervous,
So,
but
Shanice, quite excited.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, Shanice, we're going to give you 15 minutes to go through your presentation. When you need me to go to the next slide, you can just say next. And then we're going to come back for questions. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really am looking forward to the next couple of minutes. So without further ado, when I first heard about IoTY, I pretty much had the same reaction as everyone. Do I even qualify? At the time, I had no particular property that I was looking at, but then this tagline suits me perfectly. Credibility meets opportunity. And I want to say that my credibility is that I have been running Airbnbs before, but not in South Africa. So this single Bryanston apartment that I'm about to show you, for me, became proof that you start with what you have. It became proof of a repeatable, data-led hospitality investment. Next slide, please, Daniel. So let's start at the beginning of any good story with who am I? I am the founder of Chandelier Properties. I also own a Pan-African agency called Blue Flamingo, but now I take that thinking. Coincidentally, I'm wearing the same jacket. That's interesting. And I take that strategic thinking, data analysis, and operational excellence that I've learned from my other business and apply it to property investment. Why property? I believe it sits at the intersection of wealth creation and entrepreneurship, two things I absolutely love. But I also lead with value first, ownership next. So I'm big on creating value. My experience has been in Bryanston. It's not my first. I also have 2 income generating short-term rental properties in East Africa, in Uganda. Next slide, please. So how did I find my deal? I spent months. I joined Sapin in April of this year, and I promise you I spent the whole of April and the whole of May and the bigger part of June just second-guessing myself. But I deliberately selected Bryanston because I did extensive market validation. I had the spreadsheet, and with the help of the Sapin team, I didn't just look for the cheapest apartment. For me, this wasn't a property search. I was selecting an investment. So at a snapshot, the deal is in Joburg, in Bryanston. It's rental arbitrage, which means that I rent from somebody else. Remember, I said value first, ownership second. And the fit for me, I think, is definitely in the beginner leagues. But the platforms that I used to validate were AirDNA, Airbitics. I went to Property 24. I interviewed 10 experienced operators. This took me time, cost me a bit of coffee, but it was totally worth it. I consulted with 5 local letting agents in the area to also compare Bryanston, Rosebank, and 2 other areas. And I definitely spoke to the body corporate as well. Next slide, please. In doing so, I want to talk about the before, the during, and the after. For me, it was clear that the person who owned this apartment had no hospitality positioning. They were underutilizing this great asset, and it was a premium apartment in a strong performing area. What I did is I made sure there was market demand in the area. I looked at the financial feasibility. I also considered how I was going to furnish this really professionally. I considered dynamic pricing, which means that my pricing is not static. It changes with seasonality. And I really focused on having very tight operating systems and not focusing just on one platform. After that, and I'll show you this, our revenue exceeded 31,000 Rand in month 1. We were positive in terms of operating profit. We have a premium guest experience. And for me, it's my proof of concept that I can do this in other apartments. Next slide, please. So these are the pictures, as you can see on the left before, pretty plain and drab. And on the right is kind of a really well thought out, premium looking, but cost efficient remodel. Next slide, please. The key for me is in the numbers, as Sapin has taught us. So my deposit was 12,000. My furnishing and fit out was 113,000. So in total, I invested 125,626. In short, in our first month, which was July, which everyone will tell you, winter, not a good idea, don't do it then, but I believed in the numbers. We did about 32,000 in our first month. We had high operating expenses because we had a bit of a snafu with one of our first guests who ruined our beddings. So these numbers can be actually a lot better. But our operating profit margin was about 26%. Next slide, please. Every decision that I made was really made to reduce the downside risk. What Sapin taught me is that I'm not an Airbnb host. I am a PPI, professional property investor. Over and above that, I like to think of myself as a capital allocator. So I find capital and I allocate it. Next slide, please. I think it's important to have an investment philosophy because it really does help you in terms of how you negotiate and how you position yourself. One of the things that I did really well is I knew that the landlord had experienced 8 months of vacancy. So I actually negotiated for a full free month without paying rent so that I could kit out and furnish really, really well. So I launched the business without paying any rent before revenue began. Internally, what I did is I made sure that I'm targeting break even within 12 months of launch. That means the money that I'm making now goes to a particular pot to make sure I recoup a strong ROI. Once the money that I borrowed from my other company, Blue Flamingo, is paid in full, I can now start to realize some real operating profit. Next slide, please. What this has shown me is that it's important to have discipline and repayment. But that's not all. I had to mitigate for risk as well. And that means that the due diligence, the compliance, and the downside protection had to be there. So I've talked about the due diligence. For me, compliance meant that I had to make sure the body corporate was on board with the plan. I have a signed lease, and I also managed to make sure that all the requirements were taken care of. So these frameworks are really important. In terms of downside protection, one thing that I think I did really well here is that for me, I made sure that I structured in a 3-month renewable contract, which means that in the 3 months, if I saw that the business wasn't performing, I could actually get out of my lease. I negotiated this with the host, the owner of the apartment, and that I think went really well. But also to build in some downside protection, I didn't want to rely simply on Airbnb. So I built a website and I do get direct bookings from that website as well. I deliberately, after trial, decided not to go with booking.com because I experienced a lot of issues with booking.com on my other platform where the guests weren't great and I was having a lot of trouble with it. So I then decided my strategy was going to be Airbnb and my own website. Next slide, please. So on this slide, you can see my website that I designed. Obviously, I have a bit of leverage there, being that I own an agency, but this enables direct bookings, and it's going to speak to the next thing that happened out of this endeavor, which I could never have predicted, which is a JV partnership that I'm now working on. Next slide, please. So I built to scale, not just to close. I registered Chandelier Properties as a company, so it's not in my personal name. That helps me protect my asset for tax efficiency. It's a great growth strategy because I intend to build a portfolio around this business, and it will also help me with future financing. In terms of my capital strategy, I spent 125,000 plus Rand, but I saved myself over 80,000 Rand because I got a lot of what I was already using in my house and put it into this Airbnb. So what did I do? I leveraged a couple of TVs I had, some fridges that I had moved from my previous house with. So I made sure to make my capital sweat and work for me. I deliberately delayed bank leverage at this point so that I could actually make sure that external debt can enter a formal structure and that I can design a repayment plan and actually test my model before I look for financing. Next slide, please. Proof, not just profit, because the proof is there. Beyond producing income for me, this property has demonstrated to me that this is a great investable business. It's a live case study in design, systems, and discipline. The systems that I've put in from the cleaning to the turnover have really been a learning curve for me. In terms of investor conversations, I am now in conversation with an investor to manage 10 properties that are luxury apartments in Hyde Park, Embassy Towers, and Dunkeld. The idea here is that I don't want to just manage these properties for him. I actually want to have a stake in the business. So we're going as far as considering a joint venture where I will actually own and be able to buy equity into a portfolio that is actually valued currently today at just over 90 million rands. And that is huge for me because I never would have been able to anticipate that. I've also been in conversations with another investor who wants me to manage 2 properties for him in Rosebank, simply off the back of how I've designed my properties and how I've designed my website. These are conversations, not signed commitments yet, but they do show me that Bryanston has become proof, not just profit. So it's creating opportunities for me to grow my property company through strategic partnerships, not just through personal capital. Next slide, please. So that's my investment journey, but now I want to tell you a little bit about my personal journey. 2025 was one of the most challenging years of my life. I was rebuilding personally because I dealt with the loss of a very close family member. At the same time, I was restructuring my marketing business and redefining my future. I promise you the obvious decision was to pause investing until life became easier, more certain. But I reached out to Sapin, and just that first meeting I had with them, I was reminded that I could make a different decision and choose to build an asset. What Sapin helped me to underscore is that my idea of being disciplined wasn't a flaw. In fact, it was a good investment decision. It showed up in the small decisions I made, the couch, the fridge, the washing machine, the lanterns that I got from my own home, to prove that I could do this, but to protect over 80,000 rands in capital for the business. Rather than wait until I could purchase property outright, through Sapin, I realized I could adopt an asset-light strategy, and that would help me validate my investment. So for me, as said before, Bryanston to me is more than an apartment. It's a proof that resilience, preparation, intelligent execution, having the right team like Sapin can create opportunity for you even when you're going through periods of uncertainty. And that's been the biggest learning for me. It's the beginning of a vision for me to build Chandelier Properties into a portfolio of premium hospitality assets across Southern and East Africa. I didn't know that when I started my journey. But what I've learned is that when life becomes uncertain, we don't stop investing. We just seek to upskill ourselves and to invest even more intelligently. Next slide, please. And so those are my principles. First, protect the capital. Second, validate before you invest, data before emotion. Have options, multiple exit routes. Recycle capital. Today's cash flow funds tomorrow's assets. And the most important one for me, just like what Sapin has taught me, just like all the people who have helped me because I'm not here by myself, every successful project needs to create the next opportunity, but you need to build those relationships before you need them. Next slide, please. And so Bryanston, again, for me is proof that disciplined underwriting, intelligent negotiation, capital efficient execution, and having a partner who believes in you and actually helps you with the right knowledge and information is invaluable. So every decision for me, from negotiating a rent-free startup period to reusing furniture and decor that I had on hand, to designing a low-risk quarterly exit, all of these were made for me to protect the downside and preserve the outside. My vision continues to keep using this approach to partner with property owners and investors to build out Chandelier Properties into a premium hospitality portfolio across Southern and Eastern Africa, without always having to just rely on my own capital to get there. And that is what Sapin has taught me. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, extremely well done. I'm extremely inspired by it. I remember the first time I met you at the workshop, and how nervous, conservative that you are. But well done, Shanice. I think I'll echo what everyone else thinks, which was absolute well done on it. So I'd like to maybe start by, I think, congratulations, inspiring that you only joined us a few months ago, and everything you've done and what you've set up and everything you've just said is quite mind-blowing, and there's no limits to what you can actually achieve. But I'd like to maybe go a little back on the actual deal itself. So I'm just going to move. Can you talk me through the deal structure? So you found out that this landlord in particular had 8-month vacancies. So with that, so two-folded questions. Why is that? And number two, how did you actually structure the deal? Is it a 12-month lease, 24-month lease? Because a lot of people that might even be watching this think no landlord's going to let you rent out their property for what is it, 8,000 rand, and you're making 32,000 rand. How did the negotiation with the landlord actually go, and what did you offer them to ease some of the issues they had?
Thank you, Daniel. So what I did with the landlord is I built a relationship with them. I said, look, I'm not looking for a one-off. I'm an investor. I really want this to be a mutually beneficial relationship. The interesting thing is that this investor is not in the country. And so this ended up being a time suck for them. They didn't know what to do. The last rental they had in here stayed in here for 12 months and paid rent for 3 months. And it was hard for them to get rid of that person. So they'd gone through quite a bit in terms of trauma and all of that with the rental. So what I then encouraged them is that, look, I'll sign, initially I signed a 12-month lease with them. And I said, I need to leave myself some wiggle room in case this doesn't work. What I found worked with this particular landlord was I was very transparent with them and very honest with them. So on some level, I think we did bond a bit more than a traditional landlord and tenant did. So I think that helped us a lot because we had a relationship already. I then committed also, which I didn't put in the slides, I committed to paying the first 2 months of rent upfront to also ease their financial pressure. But I knew that I had that money because I saved some money on the furniture. So I was able to also play around with some of my capital, but remember, I'd only committed for the first 3 months. So that then enabled me to negotiate that deal in a way that perhaps isn't quite the norm. But then the trust that I feel we built in our relationship actually allowed me that leverage to say, let's build a relationship here that's mutually beneficial. I also agreed to reviewing the rent after the first 1 year as well, which I think also might have sweetened the deal.
Awesome. No, that makes perfect sense, hey? You're solving the issue. You're a more reliable payer than the old tenant that was there. And he did not give you any hassles, hey?
No, she did not.
Oh, she did not.
Yeah.
Now, awesome. So, Sam, do you have any questions for Shanice?
Firstly, congratulations, Shanice. So quite impressed with your story, like Dan mentioned, when you joined the workshop and then you took action and now you've got this deal, and your presentation was well structured. It was quite nice to follow. I just have one question for you, just from a structuring point of view. You mentioned that you have your one company, Flamingo,
yes, ...
and you have this one that you bought this one in, but then beyond the company level, does your structure include holding companies? Is trust part of the conversation? Is that something that you're planning on sorting? Because it does seem as if you will grow very, very fast in this space, just to have that as a consideration.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, so the trust is definitely something I'm considering. I have reached out to Bruno Simawa, and I'm planning for a meeting where I can actually sit and do this. I wanted to get the last couple of months have been hectic with putting all of this together. It's happened in a very short time. I only joined Sappin in April and we're in August. So there was a lot of learning compressed into that time. And I felt that I needed to just get this out of the way and then look at the bigger trust structure. But that's very much something that I want to do. And I've actually noted it down for action. Absolutely. Yes.
That's brilliant. Again, congratulations on your deal. And I, for one, am really, really looking forward to see you grow in this space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Daniel, I just wanted to make a small correction. So the rent is actually 12,000. It was 8,000 because I had to make some repairs. So I took the 4,000 off for the repairs. So in the first month, it's a little less, but the monthly rent is 12,000. So I just wanted to make that correction.
No, noted and awesome. I think the one advice I do have for you, Shanice, before I let you go is you're obviously growing. There will be a lot of eyes and opportunities with individuals wanting to partner with you, and rightly so, because you do know what you're doing. The international experience is quite phenomenal. But when you're doing joint ventures, I think something my property coach taught me a while ago, and something you'd need to learn is to vet your partners to the nth degree. Hey? And make sure that, because everyone is friends when the venture's starting, right? But make sure you have the difficult conversations beforehand and make sure that there is an agreement that governs that. So things like your MOIs, shareholders agreements are in place, not just on what everyone is bringing, but what happens when things go wrong. How do you exit? And how do you treat when there's a death of a shareholder and stuff like that, so that you are ultimately protected. And it needs to be well defined. But otherwise, I think before I do let you go, there's one more note from Fundo Online who is asking a question I would like to know is, how did you venture into international Airbnbs, and how do you manage it based while you're based in South Africa as well? Hey?
Great question. So for my other Airbnb, so I'm originally from Uganda, and that's where I actually built my first Airbnb from proceeds that I made from my Blue Flamingo marketing agency. So I actually own that land outright, and I started building about 10 years ago. Then I realized Airbnb was a better opportunity than having a full-time rental. And I escalated it from then, and I learned a lot in the last 4 years or 5 years I've been managing that, and that's what gave me confidence to do Airbnb in Brighton because I had that experience. How do I manage it? I have a person who lives there, so I constructed it in such a way that there's a house for a caretaker, and I'm in touch with them every single day. Cameras are very important. I have an external security firm, so that's how you manage it remotely. I do most of the comms myself simply because a lot of my guests are return guests, and I've realized that to be successful in this space, it's how a guest feels. And for me, communication is something I don't outsource. I can outsource the cleaning and everything else, but the communication is something I keep very close to myself so that I can ensure that the end-to-end experience of the guest is something that I keep an eye on. Obviously, as we scale, I'll find ways to create systems around that. But for now, that's been my leverage, is that I understand my guests intimately. I know what they want. I know when the clean wasn't good, when it was good, and I'm able to keep everybody on their toes. So that's a tip I really give people, is don't outsource the communication.
Don't outsource the communication. Thank you so much, Shanice. So, ladies and gents, that was Shanice. Please do stay in touch with our Facebook as well as our YouTube page to find out if she makes it past round number 1 to round number 2. A special thank you, Shanice. I appreciate it. I'd like to introduce, ladies and gents, the next contestant. Under the same rules, it's going to be Mr. Jerome. I'm not even sure where Jerome is. Is it Durban, sir?
I'm in Durban at the moment, yes.
Always traveling, always busy. So, ladies and gents, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give Jerome 15 to 20 minutes to go through his presentation. If you have any questions for him, you can put it in the comment section down below. Apologies, but over to you, sir.
Hey, guys. Yeah, that previous presentation was really good. I've gone through a couple of them, and there's some that over lunchtime would be better to have a bit of a doze. And the others that, I mean, like the last one where you get thoroughly educated on certain structures. So let me get into this. I'm going to do this slightly differently. I mean, I've only got 5 or 6 slides. There's a reason for that, because I've actually got 2 different renovations that I've done. And when I entered the competition, I was going to use the first renovation. It was under pressure because the tenant that was the main tenant in there started defaulting on their rent. So we had to make a plan quite quickly to make up for that default, so that whichever way it went, we'd have the income. So on that unit, we already owned it. It's quite a big unit. When I say unit property, it's just over 1,000 square meters. I'm talking about outside. And it had space for us to build 3 units. Now, with the 3 units, we built the first one, and they are simple single bedroom units, a bathroom, 1 bedroom, a kitchen lounge area, and they're roughly 3 by 7 meters. So you've got a meter for the bathroom, 3 meters for the bedroom, and whatever the rest is, if it's not a 7-meter unit, an 8-meter unit, whatever is going to be for the kitchen and a small dining room table. That first unit that we built was a tester. We didn't know the market. So we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was the correct thing. So to make sure it was that, at the same time, we ran a fictitious advert for a 2-bedroom unit, and the 2-bedroom unit we charged exactly double of what the 1 units were going to do. On the 2-bed units, we received 3 responses over a period of 5 days. On the single bedroom unit, we received 33 responses in less than 2 days. So the fixtures are simple, but they look good. They're inexpensive on purpose because tenants do not look after your property. We want to be able to go in after a tenant, make sure that we can renovate it again, literally with the paint, and replace some colors and things like that. So that was the first one. And although it's under pressure, I don't think it's under pressure enough for the competition. So what I've done is I've taken the second unit, which is not finished. It's the latest bar in Durban, and we are actually still busy. I'm sitting on the site right now with the renovation. So the pressure on this comes from 2 things. Firstly, we are not making any money on it because we have to build the units. And secondly, if you can see, I've said my strategy is multi-lets and with a sprinkle of Airbnb. I don't want to do Airbnb. I haven't got time for people phoning me at 5 o'clock in the morning saying their iron doesn't work and they need to iron their clothes and things like that. So I will partner with Peter Wessels on that, but more of that later. Let me play. Daniel, could you play that video on the second slide for me, please? Yeah, it would be.
Okay, let me just try again. The one with the
building on it.
Okay, so this is an image. Yeah, I don't think the video integrates it. Sorry, my bro.
So that's fine. What I did so that you guys could actually see the property is I hired a company with a drone, and they came along and they did the outside of the property, which doesn't need a lot of renovation. Then they went inside the property so that you could see what was going on. Unfortunately, now you can't see anything of it, what's going on, but I do have a couple of photos, not many, but just so that you can see. The slide on the right was also a movie that when I walked through the first property that we had renovated, the tiles and that are in there were existing. This was an office, and it's a real pity because you'd actually see the size of each unit. The bedrooms, that kind of thing, so that you can see in a small area, you can really fit in what you need to for a tenant. And we've never, ever had a complaint. And we've always had really good feedback because the units are pretty. Okay. From a background point of view, in renovations specifically because I'm in IT. And we build a lot of infrastructure in the rural areas. What we found, though, is the buildings are in such bad shape that when we started, we would do retail stuff. And we'd install, POS systems, cabling, that kind of thing. But because of them being in such bad nick, we decided to start rebuilding the whole thing. And that's why we got to a point where I decided to renovate buildings rather than just move in there, because a lot of our equipment was starting to get damaged. Okay, so why property is one of the questions. So I've been involved with property since 2008. I did absolutely nothing. I bought 1 or 2 properties, and they were like what Sapin calls investment buyers. I bought them. I had to pay money into them. I've actually lost a lot of money because Sam did the blueprint for me. And Sapin's way is very, very different. So within the Sapin purchases, I've done 3 properties now. I've done them really quickly as well. I did the first purchase within 5 months. I started the renovations for the Atomic property, which was the 3 flats, in the 4th month. And in the 7th month, I bought this property that I'm now going to be showing. The deal overview is, well, I've actually gone through a lot of this because of the pressure on it. The unit we're doing right now is a lot of pressure because we have to finish. Sorry, I'm not telling you to move the slides. We have to finish this firstly because we are not generating income. It is a low value property. Well, when I say low, 1.4 million, so that the cost of the property is something that we can handle. And the property itself had a double garage at the bottom, and they converted it to flats. So it was not a legal structure. It did not have the right zoning either. So we had to go in there and discuss everything with the town planner and get it all done. The reason, okay, so let's go into the other properties. I've got a couple. One we're trying to sell. We're paying money into it. We had a really exciting increase in levies because there was fraud within the body corporate. We are on a 1.1 million rand property. We are paying 6,000 rand in levies. So it's quite hard to get rid of it because of that levy structure. I had a commercial unit, a light commercial unit, which we sold. It brought a little bit of money in. And the other 3 properties, there's one in Lonial, one in Atomic, and which is in Durban, and then this one in Durban, that are bought under the Sapin structures. And the first 2 are money, they make money off the bat. This one within 6 weeks will be making money. So can you go to the next slide, please? So, like I said, this is high level because the drone footage, the guys on the inside really messed it up, okay? But on the left-hand side, you will see why we chose this property. It's basically empty. It doesn't have a lot of walls. It was a dental workshop. So the walls that are inside are not structural. The guys who bought the place originally, they built their own little kitchen, they built a bathroom, they built a room. Okay, so all of it can get ripped out. So you can see the next picture. That's the morning of the 2nd day. And this is why we can't get a drone in again or someone to come and do footage because we move too fast for them. It doesn't help us, to get someone after a couple of days. The one on the right is a picture of where we're at now. It's quite hard to see. Well, we're not at that. I'll show you now. Where it goes into the passageway, they actually curved the walls. So it just adds to the class of the units. Now, this unit is going to be an Airbnb, okay? I do not want to run it. I do multi-lets. Because Peter Wessels is also really active on the Sapin groups, and he's really trying to get to a point where he could leave his previous job and he can run this because he really loves it. I'm going to build this for him. We'll establish a loan account for everything that I put in because it's going to be from scratch, with no time frame to pay it off. Okay, I don't like JVs because after a year, you discover you don't like each other, and then things go to hell. So I want multi-let rentals, and I want rental above what I get 2 units from. Okay, the amount that we've worked on is he will pay 8,000 rand a month in the start. Once the Airbnb is settled and it's starting to bring in regular income, it'll bring in 10,000 Rand a month. So, I mean, that's from 7,600 Rand a month for 2 units up to 10,000 Rand a month. So it increases the, the profitability or the equity of the property by quite a bit. Okay. Could I have the next slide, please? Okay, so now this is a little bit hard to see. I've tried to make it as big as possible, but I thought for guys that are going into multi-lets, it might be really helpful to look at something like this. It does relate in some ways to the renovation, but I want people to understand how I buy them and then renovate them to the point of being being a rentable and profitable scenario very, very quickly. So if you look on the left-hand side, I can hardly see this because I'm working on a half a screen, yeah. You will see all the costs that I take into account. I've always said that I'm quite conservative, and you can see that I have everything that I think is possible. I mean, the renovation costs, this would have been, this is excluding the Airbnb because that's going to cost me a lot more money. And this was decided after the equation. The transfer costs and the cash inputs in that, you can see for the renovation, there's 150,000 Rand because it includes 45,000 Rand to rezone the property. I've gas geysers, prepaid meters. This is something that I forgot and put in afterwards. There were no outstanding levies. I look at on the monthly numbers, rates and taxes. Everything, vacancies, insurance, I try to add as many costs into it without making it too conservative. Okay, it has to be conservative, but not too much. You then get a total of what your expenses are. Then you have the units, and I've got an amortization calculator at the top. You have the units income at the bottom there. Okay, then you might see that the figure there at the bottom between the two is a rounded figure, and it doesn't equate to the box that's got a black black mark around it, which gives you your ROI. The reason for that is the 13,000 odd I can't see on this thing gets removed, and on the amortization calculator, the amount for that on at the prime -1 goes into there, and that's where the extra money comes in. So your ROI is actually quite high on this property. With the Peter Wessels thing, it should increase dependent on what we put into it. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's the end of it. This is from the Lightstone report. You can see it's a little property. It's between two others. They used to be one property. So it's a small property. Its land use is about, the land is about 350 squares. So it's not massive, but it really is enough for what we want. It's got enough parking for 4 cars right now. There's enough parking for 8 cars altogether. The zoning we've applied for is for 8 cars. So I just want to show you something that's a little bit different because I'm involved right now. That is why I'm in Durban in building the property. Okay, so I just want to take my laptop and go into the next room, and you can see where we at and why I have to be here and take a little bit longer. Is that okay with you guys?
Perfect. Please give us a tour.
Okay, so it's not going to be anything too exciting, but let's have a look. See ya. Got to make sure I don't show my bedroom and all my weird and wonderfuls there. So let me have a look so that I can see if you can see it. So this is the lounge area. So what I do is I mark out so this is going to be, it's like a mint green, and then where the yellow is, that is the design that we've painted across it. Then I've actually outlined it in chalk. That is the TV frame, okay, that the TV will sit in front of. Where there's a gap missing, it will actually have the TV sticking out, over there. So it matches the painting over there, and my guys can't do that kind of stuff, and that's why I have to be involved. Then we're also working out the kitchen. We've got quite funky, appliances. We put this together just to see. I do measure up and do everything, but then I actually will take the actual physical things and see if it'll work. You can see at an angle we're wasting space, okay? But the theory behind it is it's not something you're going to live in forever. It's something you come for a holiday, and if we can get away with something like this, we'll do it. The fridge is probably going to come back to this corner. Then a quick thing here, you can see a rubbish mattress on a dump. It's a queen size, and that allows us to see, even though we've got the measurements on a computer, to see actually where the person's going to be sitting. And then the brickwork, and that is for the bathroom, and this space over here is going to be for a cupboard. The unit on the other side is exactly the same, and then inside where this is going to be a toilet on the left side and a basin, and then on this side the shower. That's where we're at. You can see that we've got a lot of work to do, but I'm pretty sure that we can finish it in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I hope that helps with a short presentation.
No, I appreciate that. I definitely brought it to life. So 2 to 3 weeks, we're looking to finish the project. I just wanted to check on the costing, right? So I'd like to have an idea. If you had to outsource this, how much would a normal contractor charge versus how much you are doing it for yourself?
Belv. To get a contractor to do this, I reckon it would be about 250,000 Rand, because there's a lot of custom things. I don't know if you saw, we've got curved walls and that, and not a lot of guys can do that kind of thing. For us, including the appliances, I reckon it'll cost us about at maximum 150,000 Rand. So it's a huge difference between a contractor and me, specifically because contractors, they just bang out boxes and rooms and things like that. Now you won't have, you saw that TV frame. People can't do that. They know how to build boxes for kitchens. So I'm saving a hell of a lot of money, and that makes it a much profitable standpoint once it's complete.
No, it definitely makes sense. So I'm going to bring Sam in. I know he has a few questions, and then I've just got one more for you. Hey?
Hi, Jerome. Great presentation, and it's nice to see you busy that side. Obviously, on my side, I do know, because we've worked together on a few deals in terms of getting financing across the line and stuff. In terms of this one that you just got, that you're busy with now, what does the ownership structure look like? Is it in a company? Do you own it in your personal name? How did you just go about it, just to share with the masses, and the reasons for that as well?
So it's in a company name. One of the big reasons is I'm self-employed. Banks really don't like me. So Melissa is the director, and then we do have a trust, a property trust, that holds the shares of the company. So that protects us from a number of, from a number of different directions in case we have some kind of issue. I would prefer for it to be in a trust, purely for legacy purposes. And also, the trusts have conduit principles that, it might be limited, but we can get away with the tax thing. But right now it's in a protected, it's in an environment that is protected.
No, that's brilliant to hear. And just to also touch on to that, the company itself also does play into the part of legacy planning with the shareholding and how it's structured and whatnot. So I just thought I'd have you speak about that, because that is quite an important part of the bigger picture as well. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to put in so much work and then it's in the wrong structures and whatnot, just for everybody else to be aware of that as well. But I think that's the only question that I had on my side. Dan, you said you had one more on your
Yeah,
end.
so I just have one more question. So, being a multi-let investor and the emphasis on the reliability that the multi-lets provide you, right? So, once you're fully occupied, you're getting 10,000 Rand rental. Towards pivoting, and I saw there's a monthly bond going off. What actually made you want to try the Airbnb, even if you're not doing it yourself and running it? You obviously doing a joint venture, but what made you pivot towards doing an Airbnb down in Durban as well?
So there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, if you look at businesses as a unit, you need to pull out as much equity you can in a business. So if you take a garage, petrol station, they will have a petrol station, and then they'll start selling wood and charcoal. Then they will build up a convenience store, and then they'll have hot food within the convenience store, and then Caltex or Astron Energy, now the best move they've ever done is put coffee into their stores. So the only way for me to try different income sources within the property that I'm building is to get someone like Better Vessels to do the due diligence on it, tell me that it's working, and put it together. It does cost me more to do that because I'm moving out of the multi-let strategy where we've got a formula that we use and do it as sorry, I got distracted there, where we know what to put together. We know the timeframes to do it. So this will take us a bit longer, but the profitability theoretically is higher. So this is why I'm taking a chance on it, but not really taking a chance on it because the due diligence is sitting behind it. There are a lot of other things that I'll do within the multi-let, like putting solar in and let that, that's another income stream that'll come in. So it's not just buy a building, jam your tenants in. You need to be able to squeeze up as much money out of the property, out of the investment. And this is the first step outside of the multi-let that will allow it.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. So before we let you go, Jerome, we've got one question from Fundo online on your screen right now, which says, well, I have a question. Does multi-let work better for you or flipping and the likes? Have you flipped properties? Is it something you do, Jerome?
Okay, so I haven't flipped one. I had an opportunity 2 weeks ago. It was a Soweto property. It would have worked as a flip. It was generating 4,800 Rand income. They wanted 300. I could have probably got it down to 280. So I've never really wanted to do flips, and I don't look for them. But if you need income to cover your costs, I mean, you must know that we spent 380,000 Rand with all of the costs and fees for the transfers and that. And if you need that kind of thing, you can look at flips. I will never not look at something because of my multi-let strategy. So you need to see what comes along. And that flip was actually from an estate agent that I made a relationship with. And it would have been great, but I just thought I can't take on too much right now. And I wanted very specific criteria to do it, so that it would, the waste of time to do it, if you wanted to call it that, would be worth me not doing some of the work on this renovation. So do flips if you want to. You'll make cash. Okay, there is risk involved, but if you need cash up front, you either do the flips or you do like Andrew suggested, where you start sourcing properties for other people.
No, thank you so much. Ladies and gents, that was Jerome. What we will do is we're going to be sending out an announcement end of this week to find out if Jerome has made it to round number 2. If you would like to see Jerome or Shanice, please do spam their names at the bottom of this video as well to see them through to round number 2. Thank you so much. Thanks. So sorry. I'm fumbling over my own words here. But a big thank you, Jerome, for your time, my brother. I know you did sacrifice a lot to do this session. So special thank you. And we will be keeping in touch with Jerome to see if he does finish in 2 to 3 weeks as well. So thank you so much, Jerome. I'd like to also bring Sam on board to just tell us where you can find him. If you are an investor, ladies and gents, that is in need of financing, if you're watching this video and you would like to finance your next opportunity, Sam and the team at 360 Finance are the perfect individuals to help you through it. But Sam, where can people find you?
Thanks again, Dan. So anyone can reach out to me via SAM at sapropertynetwork.com. If you are looking at getting any deals over the line and you're just at the financing part of it, or you're looking to get pre-qualified and so on. As mentioned earlier, I do just help investors within the network find finance for their deals, no matter how creative and order structure and whatnot. We also take a bit of time to plan things in advance as well, just to make sure it gets over the line. But if you are looking for that, please feel free to reach out to me, Sam at sapropertynetwork.com.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sam. And we will be keeping you busy. So, ladies and gents, as we do close off, I'd like to share that the overall winner for this year's competition will be winning a cash prize of 100,000 Rand in cash, the largest in the competition history as well. And you as the audience, ladies and gents, can form part of the competition by actually attending the gala dinner on the 19th of September, where you can make your voices heard on which investor you would like to see crowned as the overall investor of the year by visiting our website www.investoroftheyear.co.za to buy your ticket. Tickets are running out, so please do make your purchases as well. Please do follow us on our Facebook page, right, as well as our YouTube page. No matter where you are watching, do subscribe. Give us a like on the video that you are watching as well. And as we are closing off the Investor of the Year competition, we are having in-person judging tomorrow in Johannesburg at one of our partners' offices, Tough Capital, where some investors are going to be judging or getting judged on their round 2 applications, which we will be live streaming. So, ladies and gents, if you are a corporate, you are watching this, you want to find out how you can associate your brand with other leading brands within the property space to offer a turnkey solution to investors that have entered and are watching us throughout the country, you can email us at alani@sapropertynetwork.com as well. So, ladies and gents, like I said, you get a chance to be there on the evening. It's going to be a black tie event. It's going to be unforgettable. Please do attend. You can scan the QR codes on your screen to be there with all of our contestants, with our judges, with our sponsors and partners. It's going to be pristine and a black tie evening. So tickets are selling quickly at 2,297 Rand per person. They are selling out quite quickly. But however, there are discounts if you are coming with a partner. If you would like to organize a discounted table and you would like to book out as many seats as possible, please email alani@sapropertynetwork.com as well as scanning the link in the QR the QR code on your screens below. So, ladies and gents, that is me. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Investor of the Year competition content, and join me next week as well for more rounds judging. So thank you so much, ladies and gents, and see you tomorrow.